So, what do you think of the Balls From Ellwood Show?
You think I'm gay? You think I'm a gay little boy, huh? You think I'm a gay little boy who likes daddy, huh? You think I like men?
So, what do you think of the Balls From Ellwood Show?
I beg your pardon?
So, what do you think of the Balls From Ellwood Show?
Sorry, what?
Balls.
Your microphone's not even plugged in.
So, what do you think of the Balls From Ellwood Show? Are you kidding me?
My entire household loves Balls From Ellwood Show.
Balls from Ellwood. It's a good show. Come watch it with me under the sheets. Put a piece of you inside of me, and we can make it last all night long. Don't be afraid to go all the way. Let me take your virginity. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey now, this is Balls from the Future. Always remember, if you point at somebody, the wife wakes you up by spreading her ash cheek. So remember to hit him with Howard Stern's penis.
Love mommy.
You know, I hope, there's always three fingers. I just want to wish you a very happy birthday, Balls. You should always... you should always not focus on fighting the past, but always remember Howard Stern's penis. To you all, and peace and love. Peace and love.
Hi, I'm Gilbert Gottfried, and you're listening to the Balls from Something Show.
Hey now, cats, we're back again this week on the Balls from Ellwood Show, and I think this week is going to be the most jam-packed show we've ever put out. Xtina, how are you?
I am great. How are you, Balls?
I am exasperated because we have such a jam-packed show. We got to get right to it. As you see in the intro, that was a nice little commercial that the late, great, one of my fallen heroes, Gilbert Gottfried, did for us when we met him. We went to a little wine tasting back in 2018. And I'd actually called into the Stern Show this past Wednesday and told a little story about that. And that was one of my fond memories. And they did a tribute to Gilbert Gottfried. And I'm actually going to play that clip on the show here. Also, on Balls from Ellwood Television, if you tune in other than this show, we have a bunch of other great shows. Like this lady right here has a great show called... You don't remember your show?
I don't remember my show. How am I still here? That's it.
So you could check that out, cats. You could check out Matt Wheels, Onesti, and myself. We do a little show called Movie Snubs. You could check that out where we discuss films. He's a little film snob. I'm a guy that likes schlock cinema. We each give each other a movie to watch, and then we discuss. So other than that, check those things out. I have a nice tribute special that I put together to Gilbert from the Wine Festival. I recorded his whole set. I remastered it. It's on BFE TV right now for you cats to enjoy. So check that out. And check out the plethora of other shows we have on the Balls from Ellwood Television Network on YouTube. So getting right into it, cats. Other than that, other than saying goodbye to Gilbert, I wanted to let you know one of our favorite films of the year, X, is now on demand on all major platforms. So definitely check that out. I believe it's $19.99 on any major platform.
Worth every penny.
Definitely. If you want to see one of the most fucked up, awesome, crazy movies of the year, check it out, cats.
That is it.
Speaking of the most awesome, fucked up movies of the year,
Yeah.
this is a nice transition into what, I mean, not only X, but this was actually my second favorite crazy movie I've seen. And I gotta say, cats, I've seen a lot of genre films. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. I've seen a lot of nuts, cuckoo stuff. I can't even believe Xtina made it through this with me, but I have to say it's actually also one of my favorite films I've seen this year. So I am talking surely about The Sadness, a little Chinese movie. I believe it's going to premiere on Shudder next month, and Raven Banner's putting it out. So where do we begin?
I don't even know. You know, I had no idea. He'd been looking for this movie to come out and couldn't find it. It's hard to find because I believe it's Taiwanese technically, but it, you know, it finally appeared to be available to us to watch here in the U.S. and I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew it was a foreign film and I'd have to read, you know, but don't ever let that stop you. Like, I used to be one of those people that was like, I don't want to read the movie, you know, but oh my God, don't let that stop you.
I'm really glad to hear you say that because a lot of people don't give
You're
that
gonna
chance.
miss out on a
You're
lot
gonna
of good
miss
stuff.
out on like 70% of the great stuff in the world.
And it's honestly not that difficult to follow along. And I mean, it probably helps you follow the movie more because then you're less inclined to look at your phone or whatever. But anyway, the point is, you know, this movie, I had no idea what to expect, but it's, you know, it's funny, they made it, I guess, during the height of the pandemic, and they took an opportunity to, you know, make this movie, and it's basically loosely based on getting a virus, but their virus isn't quite COVID. It more or less turns people into not zombies, but what would you call them?
Psychopaths.
I guess, yeah, you would call them psychopaths.
I think in the film, I think they call it the Alvin virus, and what it does is it attacks in your brain. There's the id, the ego, and the super ego, as like most people know, and your id is what makes you just want to do anything: rape, kill, pillage, do whatever, stab, destroy. But your other two keep you in check. This virus eats the two that keeps you in check, so it turns you into pretty much a psychopathic madman.
Monster.
So
Yes.
the whole
And
town's breaking out.
all of those things happen. So,
it's
you know,
kooky.
trigger
So,
warning, folks.
there's shit in this movie that still shocks me, and I
Yes.
still think about it, and I've seen everything. So that being said, it's still, and you know what it is? It's kind of it's a bloodbath, it's a gut churner, but it's also kind of pokes fun at like all the hypocrisy through the pandemic. So I always thought that was kind of cool. I like when there's crazy shit, but there's an underlying intelligence to it, and this movie definitely has that. So
for sure, it's great.
Balls says check it out. It was one of my that next was my two favorite films this year so
balls
far.
up.
Two balls up, gotta say. But that being said, I mean that's really all we've seen so far. But I'm gonna get into some music news here real quick. The Slackers have a new album. They haven't had an album in I think it's 6 or 7 years almost. It's called "Don't Let the Sunlight Fool You."
Just like right now, it's
it's
sunny
trying
in
to.
here, and it's probably a good 55 degrees out. At
You
that.
need to run, not walk, to Pirates Press Records and order this album because, frankly, it's probably the best album I've heard all year. So
Really good.
really good. Every song's a ska banger on it. Another album I've been super digging is a little band on Bad Time Records called Dissidente. If you want some, I don't even know how to. I think it's probably like.
I would call them hardcore ska.
Yeah, kind of like ska core meets hardcore. So head on over and get this debut LP from Dissidente. Next month I'm excited because I believe the middle of May brings a brand new Bruce Lee band. That's up for pre-order now, but it's almost all sold out. So you want to go to Asian Man Records and get one right away. Jer from We Are the Union has a debut album on Bad Time Records coming out, and that's almost sold out. So if you want one, you better head on over there and get that. This weekend, this Friday, is the Cinnamon Film Festival in France. But the cool part is you can actually get a ticket, a virtual ticket, and you can watch every movie streaming. And the whole reason I was excited about it, cats, is they're going to be playing the man, the myth, the legend, my real dad, Lloyd Kaufman's final epic masterpiece, The Trauma Telling of the Tempest, Shakespeare Shitstorm. And if you head on over to Trauma Direct, you could get one of these fucking dope fucking t-shirts.
It's got a little bit of everything on there.
Shakespeare Shitstorm. It's got, of course,
The man,
the myth, the legend on the front. So make sure you head to the Cinnamon Film Festival online if you want to see Shakespeare Shitstorm and a bunch of other great films.
$20, huh?
20 bucks.
Get you
the entrance. You can watch. You can stream all weekend, and you can watch every film in the festival.
Pretty darn cool.
More music coming out. My buddy Scarfo has a punk band called Complete Bastards. They have an EP that just came out called, I believe it's Veni. It's on Spotify right now and most major platforms.
Sounds like they go to Starbucks a lot.
Oh,
They're
when you
speaking
hear
of
this
Starbucks.
album, it's not Starbucks. They have
Okay.
songs about fucking old ladies called Grey Bush.
Well, that's
They
a
got
little bit
songs
different.
about George Takei's husband's floppy tits and much, much more, cats. So head on
Wow.
over, check it out. It's actually a really good fucking punk album. So you're going to want to check that out, cats. I got so much to talk about. I'm trying not to fucking forget it all. Not to mention, she has a brand new Depravity Corner coming up, so let's see here. Stay tuned. I got some awesome interviews coming up. Not only, I mentioned the Slackers before, I got a cool little segment with Vic Ruggiero where he's talking about recording a new album. And the camera angle was right on our balls. So I'd like to call it Balls to Peace Theater. So I got Balls to Peace Theater coming up with Vic Ruggiero after this. And you might know him from Deals Gone Slack. I know him as a fellow horror nerd, Todd Hembrook. The man, the myth, the legend. We're going to be talking to him. We're going to be talking about our first... This is going to be a reoccurring segment, cats. But this is the first couple picks of horror movies that we don't feel get enough tension or love. So that'll be the first segment of that. And I think that's pretty much all I have for right now. So we're going to get to Xtina, and she's going to get to the goods. I haven't heard a good depravity story in quite a while, cats. So... blow my skirt up, Xtina, would you?
Oh, wow, that's perfect. Blow your skirt up. You have no idea how appropriate that is for this particular topic here. I'm going to put out a trigger warning right now because we are going to be talking about rape. So, trigger warning, blowing up skirts. Yep, here we go. Sorry. He didn't even know he was doing that. Look at that. Nice segue, Balls. Nice segue. Great job.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean that great. So, I don't know how well y'all follow the news, but this is pretty big story out of South Carolina, and we have a serial rapist. And his name is... Well, ironically, his last name is Turner, which, if you remember years ago, the swimmer, Brock Turner.
Yeah, I remember that piece of shit.
Yeah, another white boy.
Another guy that needs shot
Another
in the
privileged white boy.
Another cunt that needs shot in the face.
Yes, who just thinks that they can get away with this sort of thing here. So this wonderful kid, Bowen Turner, well, he's now 19, but he was maybe 17 when this stuff happened. It was a couple years ago. He is the son of a man who works for the DA's office. So, you know, once again, the key word here is privilege. Keep that in mind. You know, people often ask rape victims, why don't they report this sooner? Why didn't they say anything? And, you know, luckily, in this day and age, you know, with the whole Me Too movement, people have gotten better at reporting these things. And, you know, and as awful as I'm sure it is to head on over to the hospital to, you know, have yourself touched and groped and stuff swabbed and all this crap, you have to do that immediately, you know. And so I get it. I get why it's hard. But this will show you, you know, these young ladies did do the right thing. And they're still getting fucked. Literally and figuratively. So this young man, I'm not going to call him a gentleman because that is so far from what he is. You know, kids, partying, a couple of girls. This particular girl, her name is Dallas Stoller. She was at a party one night. Bright girl. I think she was their valedictorian of the school or president of the, you know, of her class. You know, bright future, going into, you know, nursing, physical therapy, I think she was going into. So she's a super bright girl. You know, not a big partier, but of course, everybody has their moments where they're going to go to a party and experience that lifestyle, right? So she does. She goes to this party. She's around mostly all these people she knows. So, I mean, she felt comfortable. She got pretty damn drunk. And next thing she knows, She is being thrown around, slammed on the ground, and forcefully raped by Mr. Turner. She immediately calls her mother, who comes to get her. They go home, and she immediately goes to the hospital to get all checked out, done her rape kit done and everything. So she totally did all the right stuff. When she even told her mother who did this to her, her mother was shocked and horrified, because this was, you know, Mr. Good Boy. He was on the football team. His daddy's a DA, or part of the DA's team, you know.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. So, you know, Mr. Good Boy, not so good, right? So she files these charges. He, in fact, gets arrested. They, you know, plan this, you know, obviously the trial's getting planned and whatnot. While he's out on probation, he rapes another young lady at a party. And I'm sorry that I don't have her name right now, but I do actually have a clip I want to play. Her name is Chloe Bess, and I have a clip from the Nancy Grace podcast where she is interviewed. Let me cue that up here real quick. And, you know, it just, is this the one? Let me see if I have it here. Yeah.
Chloe, were you raped?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell the police?
I did. So I told them like a day after, because unfortunately, I was aware of Dallas's case, and I saw the backlash she was getting, and that really scared me to come forward. I had just moved to this town like a year and a half prior. I was the new girl. I had, you know, already dealt with some situations of bullying prior to this while being in the town. And I just didn't want another reason for people to come at me. So it did take me about a day to kind of come to terms with things.
That's not that bad.
So June 2nd, this happened. I ended up coming out with it June 3rd and went to the hospital.
How did your parents react?
My parents were devastated, especially when they found out who it was. My mom said like she had to have the name repeated to her like 3 times because she just couldn't believe it.
Let me understand this. So you go outside. You went with your brother and a friend. Did you say a twin brother?
Yes, ma'am.
You went with your twin brother and a friend. They went to go get something to eat, and they were coming back.
Mm-hmm.
That is when you were attacked outside in the night, taken behind a vehicle at a tree line, thrown on the ground. You had this guy, around 200 pounds, on top of you. You were raped. You said you looked at the stars and waited for it to be over. You went in, you looked at a mirror, and felt like it wasn't even you. That's called an out-of-body. Nothing seems real. Okay, Katie Kamen.
So, and here's the thing. So that happened, and you heard the girl say, well, after she was him-hawing about whether to report it, the Dallas girl, the first girl who he raped, she got bullied by all the kids, most of the kids, the community, even the teachers, because they called her a liar. She's clearly lying because, you know, this good old boy would never do such a thing, right? Never. He would never do such a thing. And, you know, I want to say it's a senator came out and said something to the effect, he actually, I don't think it was this girl, I think it was the one we just heard from, this Chloe. He actually slut-shamed her publicly and said, whatever, she just wanted to have sex and she was drunk and, you know, regrets it now and she's embarrassed. So that's what happened. End of story. Listen, if you are unable to consent because you are drunk, or if you get thrown on the ground and you're being overpowered by a 200-pound man, you know, they're saying, oh, she didn't even say no, or she didn't even tell him to stop. You're in such shock at that moment that you can't even, you're like, is this even happening? Like, is this really happening? And, like, it's kind of hard sometimes to fight people off. And also, you know, I just saw this, and I saved some screenshots, and we'll put them up here. So this girl that was, you know, supposedly a willing participant, right? This Dallas. Would you look like this, do you think, if you were a willing participant?
God. No.
Do you think that's normal if you had consensual sex to look like that?
No.
Yeah. So this girl been waiting for 3 years to have her day in court. She had to leave and go to another like county to go to college because she was just getting constantly harassed. She's not dead because she killed herself. So again, people, this is why women don't report rapes. And he finally had his day in court. And there was a third girl who came forward also. He got his day in court. The court has come back. They have thrown out the one because the girl is dead. They took the other two, you know, witnesses, victims, and this guy got 5 years of probation. Probation. No jail time. Probation. And prior to that, even when he was on, what do you call it? Like, he was out of jail on bail or whatever, he was on house arrest. He went golfing. He went to restaurants. He went to the dead girl's gravesite. And they found that through his GPS tracker. All her friends now have put a big sign there that has his name and says, "You are not welcome here." Does he feel guilty, maybe? And he went to apologize? Perhaps. But that doesn't make it right. Does he deserve some jail time? I personally think so. He's going to do it again. It's just a matter of time. What do they say? Leopards rarely change their spots. Is that the saying? You know? So again, we have a twofold case here. He's going to continue to act this way because the justice system says, it's okay. It's all right. A little slap on the hand. No big deal, buddy. A girl is dead. A beautiful young girl with a promising future. Gone, dead. And these other two women have to live with this in their brain all the time. You know, life's fair, right? So, I don't know. You know, maybe someone will get him when he, you know, hopefully karma. You know, I do believe in karma. And I do feel like, okay, well, it's fine. Don't let the justice system do their justice, but let's see what karma has to say about that. What do you think karma has to say about that, boss?
I firmly believe that in some way, shape, or form, everybody has a Day of Atonement. This is just another prime example of why our judicial system is a fucking joke. I believe that at this point that laws are created and established for the criminals.
Yeah.
And if this doesn't show you that, I don't know what will. I think it's a shame that people that are involved in such a tragedy get treated the way they do, and ultimately they become a pariah. So, I mean, I'm physically nauseous right now.
Right.
Hearing stuff like this always, I don't care how many times I hear it, it always upsets and bothers me.
Right.
And
yeah, I was hesitant to do this because it's
very heavy.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, we do this shit all the time for a reason.
It needs to be talked
about.
about.
For a point. And
Something needs
if
to
people
happen.
don't start talking, there won't be change. And without
Right.
change, it's just going to go on forever. So we can only hope that through our shitty podcast or people talking about it, hopefully one day it'll change. So,
hopefully.
And hopefully one day we could chemically castrate these fucking animals.
Right.
So they just don't. It's just a revolving door. They just keep repeating the same thing. I'm a firm believer in, you know, capital punishment. I know that's a big no for people, but I believe every punishment should fit the crime.
Right.
So.
See, I was too for the longest time, and I mean, I am, but and that's even a joke because, you know, 90% of people sitting on death row have been sitting there for 20 years.
I mean, here's the thing, too, that
Yeah.
it doesn't bring the person back. It
doesn't.
unrape somebody.
Right.
It doesn't unfuck their conscience.
Right. And my hope is, too, that if they do get a life sentence, that they're more tortured being in jail and they're getting tortured, especially rapists, by other prisoners. So I almost, I've kind of done a flip-flop on that in a way. Like, I almost feel like life in prison's better in a lot of ways, Now, most of these people don't feel
they're getting
guilt.
Shawshanked every day.
But, right. So you can only hope, right?
Yeah, I mean...
only pray for karma.
Pray for karma.
That's right.
Well, on that note, cats, after that heavy shroud, I mean... the only thing I have left for you, cats, is I actually forgot to mention earlier, I went to the big nerd convention this past weekend, and I got to meet a plethora of people, such as comedic legend Chevy Chase, Heather Langenkamp from A Nightmare on Elm Street. I got to meet Jason Lively from Night of the Creeps and European Vacation. Mm-hmm. I got to meet, John Bernthal, who is the best Punisher ever. Not to mention he was Shane in The Walking Dead and one of my personal heroes. And I get to meet the great Christina Ricci. So I'm going to throw some pics of that up, cats. Hopefully, through this discussion, there'll be change. We hope.
And when Balls went to the nerd convention, I opted for a Bachelor book signing because, as some of you know, I try not to talk about it much, but I am slightly obsessed with the Bachelor franchise. And, just a little bit. But the reason is, and this sounds absolutely ridiculous, and everybody knows it sounds ridiculous, but Balls can even somewhat say that it's somewhat true. There are good people that come from it. Granted, there's maybe 20%, but, and those 20% that are good are very good people, and, I enjoy following their careers and seeing what they do with their lives, and I like to support them in their new endeavors.
Brown is a very nice person.
Yeah, she's a good person.
There's nice people that's come out of there. I mean.
But shout out, I'll just give a quick plug for Jason Tartick's book, The Restart Roadmap. If you want to restart your life, restart your career.
Where can you find it at?
He's the man. Amazon, anywhere online on his own website. He will teach you, give you the confidence, give you the skills to, restart your life, to ask for that raise you've been waiting to ask for, and he will tell you, like, corporate America, fuck it, man. He quit his VP Bank of America job way up here to, do his own thing. And now that he's super successful at it. And granted, yes, he had some, quote unquote Z-grade fame to kind of network with people, but you don't even need that. If you can build your own network of people, you can do this. In fact, Balls and I think are going to read this book together and figure out a way to restart our roadmap of our podcast and get it out there to the masses. Never know, right?
Balls never gives up.
That's right.
I don't ever. So the squeakiest wheel gets the oil, as my grandpa said, rest in peace. And that's the monicum I live my life by. So yeah, I'm definitely down for that. I'm down for anything that's going to help us get the word out. I say let's do it. So
absolutely.
Got my endorsement. That's about it we have for this week, cats. Make sure you tune in next time. But as we go here, check out my photos from Steel City Con, and then I'll be playing that Ballsterpiece Theater interview with the great Vic Ruggiero of the Slackers. We're going to be talking about their new album, and after that, stay tuned for my interview with Todd Hembrook, and we're going to be talking about the horror Diamond in the Rough horror film, Diamond in the Rough horror films. And we will see you next week. Peace and love, peace and love.
That's right. That's a good way to put it. All right, Balls, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey there! How you doing, Howard?
All right.
Hey, I just wanted to pay my respect to Gilbert and rest in peace. And I had to tell you a quick story. He was the best, man. We've seen him at a wine festival once, and it was all uppity rich people, and he loved it. He was telling a joke about Michael Douglas getting throat cancer from eating Catherine Zeta-Jones' bookie. Half the place got up and fucking left. And he laughed so hard, he just turned around. I thought he was going to pass out, dude. It was so fucking funny. I love you, Gilbert. Rest in peace. Thanks for a great tribute, Howard. I love you, man. Peace and love.
That's a good story, Balls, because that's true. I mean, who gets up at a country club and tells a story about Michael Douglas getting throat cancer from Catherine Zeta-Jones' pussy? I mean, you just don't. And he did it. That was it. And if you walked out, it was like he thought it was funny. He did. He thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, we could tell stories all day about Gilbert. We got enough of them. Well, I think we're planning a tribute to Gilbert because of all the endless hours of tape. Yes, this weekend we're dedicating Howard 101 to Gilbert Gottfried, showcasing some of the favorite moments from the show. And I'm sure there'll be a bunch of stories from people, and we're putting that together as we speak.
Look at that.
Hey now, cats, we're back again this week on the Balls From Ellwood Show, and with me is somebody that you know that I love and admire, one of my favorite people in the world, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Vic Ruggiero. We're here in Pittsburgh tonight. He's getting ready to rock the fucking first leg of the Slackers tour for their new album, Don't Let the Sunlight Fool You.
Yeah.
And I'm here, and I'm going to ask him a few questions about their new album. Vic, can you tell me a little bit about the new album? Can you tell me where the inspiration for the songs came from?
Hey, you know, it comes from the ether, man. We're out there living our lives the same way everybody is. So, you know, the past couple of years was easy to write songs because there was a lot to write about. You know, the world continues to be insane, and we got a lot of material to write about. You know, and not just complaining about it, but just kind of, I guess we just try to figure out where we fit, right?
The two singles I almost feel is kind of hopeful, you know, like there's that chaos in the world, and then it sort of kind of has a little hope to it too. So
yeah,
I think that's pretty cool, man. I wanted to ask you, how is recording this record different from previous Slackers records? Was it tough through the pandemic, or?
Oh, it was great. It was actually better because we were all over our sound guy's house, Mark Quitelli. We went over his house to do live streams, and he had everything mic'd up. And when we would start to do the live stream, but when we finished the live stream, we'd be like, hey, let's hang out and play a little bit, or like, hey, let's have a rehearsal, and like, hey, let's record something, see what it sounds like. And then everybody started bringing songs in, and then next thing you knew, we had like 20 songs recorded.
Wow, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was just fun. It really was reaffirming what the band feels like to be in. It was like, you know, really cool. Hey, look who it is. It's Marcus.
Hey, how you doing,
pop
man?
your head in over here,
Am I
man.
interrupting anything?
No,
this is
man.
Balls. I don't know if you know Balls.
Hey, Balls. How you doing?
How you doing, bro?
We're doing a little quick
right.
interview about the record.
Oh.
Hey, now that you're
Hello, interview land.
here. Yeah.
Marcus, what was your favorite part about recording this new record?
Favorite part about recording it? It was fun to record in a lot of ways.
It was, right? You had your own room.
Yeah. I probably liked Shame Boy as far as like fun recordings. Like we basically learned it, and the recording is either the first take of us learning it or like the second.
Yeah.
And we just really bashed it out. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You guys ready for fun?
I don't know what we're doing yet.
It never ends.
What was the hardest part about getting this record together?
For me, I just played a couple days and then I was finished.
I think it was just basically getting everybody there, finding the day that the days everybody could make it there. It was just scheduling the days, because once we got there, it was easy.
Things seemed to go real easy. I gotta say, I was real pleased with pretty much everything. The record really kind of had a flow to it, even in the recording process.
I don't want to keep you guys.
And I gotta say, there was some of my favorite tracks from the recording session aren't on the record, so there's a bunch of good tracks ready to make another record.
Yeah.
I think it will not be 7 years between records.
I hope not, man. We'll see these in the future, you think?
Yeah, it's true. I remember sitting upstairs and listening to this stuff and being like, man, this is like bumping, you know?
Yeah.
What were your influences for this record?
I mean, I guess we kind of went back to reggae instead of trying to be clever, you know?
You know, it struck me too. There was I don't want to say it was a return to simplicity, because I've listened to the record and I'm doing a lot of overplaying, but it's a more focused band record. Like, it feels more organic. Would you say so?
Yeah, it just feels like it's us playing. We didn't have to do crazy overdubs to make anything work. Everything was just literally us playing, and that's how it came out and basically how it sounds. I did some organ overdubs. That's about it.
I only got a couple more for you because I know you guys are going on soon.
Yeah.
What was it like to be together, all of you, for the first time after the craziness of the plague?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Did everything just come together, or
Yeah.
was it hard to kind of get back in
when
shape?
Glenn finally came back to New York, and because we've been doing stuff as a 5-piece, but Glenn hadn't been there, and it'd been going just fine. But when Glenn came back, as soon as Glenn played note 1, it was like, aha, there it is. There's the Slackers.
Yeah.
I actually just got back. He did Deals Gone Slack about 3-4 weeks ago, and that was an incredible show too, man. But lastly, I just want to say, what's going to be the future of the Slackers after this record? What do you guys have planned for the future?
We're going to move the band to Roswell and try to make contact with the aliens and get off this planet.
Well, there you have it, folks. Marcus, my guys, Vic Ruggiero.
Artichoke farming.
The future of the Slackers is artichoke farming.
The men, the myth, the legend. My fellas, the Slackers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Balls.
Peace and love, guys.
Peace.
Take it easy, everybody.
Hey now, cats, we're back again this week, and with me, I have, where do I begin? You might know him from Deals Gone Bad. You might know him from the recent Deals Gone Slack tour with Glenn Pine of the Slackers, which I was just saying is probably one of the best shows. If you missed it, you're probably going to regret the rest of your life. But in the midst of that, we got to connect, and I have to say, this dude is definitely one of my dudes. We have a love of all things horror. I am excited to have Todd Hembrook here. We're going to talk about little-known horror films that we think are kind of underappreciated, diamonds in the rough, if you will. And we're going to talk about movies we don't think get enough love. So that being said, man, it is a pleasure. Thank you for being on the show. How you doing, Todd?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks, man. Thanks for having it. And, with that, I just want to put a caveat out there for the people that do, the lucky people that do tune in to your podcast here, that I was talking to Glenn Pine yesterday about being on the air, so to speak, with you. And he's like, oh yeah, that guy's a black belt and we're just kind of living in his world. So I'm going to try to keep up to all of you out there as far as horror films. This man knows what he's talking about. And I'm just here along for the very fun ride. So I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, thank you.
That is the best compliment I think anybody has ever given me. So I
actually called you a black belt. He was like, that dude's a black belt.
Right. Dude, that's a great Glenn Pine too, by the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just caught their live stream last night, man, and that blew me away. Like that whole I can't stop listening to that new Slackers album. It's so amazing. But
he told me the whole tour that he was going to play it for me, and we never got around to it. It was a very strange tour in the fact that we were, just kind of on the cusp and still in the grasp of the virus and the pandemic, and I think that we hit a good place where we were as far as timing and numbers being down and this blah 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 blah. But nonetheless, it was strange travel days some days, and it was like, our Pittsburgh show was very early, so there wasn't a whole lot of time to just like, hey man, we're just gonna like hang for 4 hours here and it's like kick it, and you can hear the record and this and that. So hopefully, I haven't had a chance to listen to it because I've been so busy since I've been off the road too. So I'm sure that they played amazing. They're legends. I'm sure that everybody enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yeah, we just saw them this past Wednesday at the Craft House in Pittsburgh. They were off all the new tunes. When you get a chance, you won't be disappointed, man. It's so good. But that being said, let's jump into our horror movie picks here. I compiled a list of, man, I tell you what, I sat down last night after I talked to you. I had 15, and now it morphed into like maybe 25. So, I mean, and these are just off the top of my head here. So, like, I'm hoping at the very worst that maybe some of these you might not have heard of, and it'll turn you on to them. So, I mean,
I'm sure a lot of them I have not heard. Like I said, you are the black belt. I am just the little Padawan here. For all the Star Wars nerds out there.
Well, would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
You know what? Why don't I start so I don't look so foolish in that I did think about some. And now what we did talk about when I first met you was and for some of the people out there that are black belts like you, they're gonna think, oh geez, what did this guy try at all? But I will say there is some reasoning behind this because of the recent 2 movies and another movie to come out, the Halloween franchise. So obviously, as everybody knows, or maybe you don't, maybe people don't know, but if you do know, you know that Halloween 2 has basically just been erased from it's not canon anymore.
I was actually just going to say that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not canon anymore. So Laurie Strode never went to the hospital that night. Michael Myers never followed her there.
Nor are they related.
Nor are they related. So I just got to say, Halloween 2, even though I feel like it unfortunately started to take on the characteristics of a lot of 80s slasher flicks of like more blood. It was a little actually blood, period. The first Halloween, there was no blood, really. No blood. The first scene where he's little and he has the knife, there's blood. But the rest of the film, there's really no blood.
I mean, even when she jams the wire hanger in his eye socket, there's really nothing. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. And
but it's funny because when you think back to that film, though, it's like Texas Chainsaw. You think it's so terrifying that you think there's more than there really is, but it really isn't because of the atmosphere. I mean,
sure. Yeah. And Halloween 2, obviously, they had to up their kind of game and up their, I guess, their numbers as far as certain age boys, you know, that they all did in the 80s, and like, well, just have her take her top off. That'll do it, you know, and make
back
the
then
eyeball
it did.
pop. No way it did. Yeah. And make the eyeball pop out and make the blood gush, like make it to where it's really fake. But I will say it's still, I think it holds up. And to tell the truth, like what is his fixation on this woman if that night didn't happen, or I guess I shouldn't say that night didn't extend into the morning, because we're still talking about October 30. Well, I guess it would be November 1 by that point, 1978. What is his fixation and what is his connection with this woman if that night doesn't extend and she doesn't find out that, like, oh shit, I'm related to this guy, or blah, 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 you know, all of it. What's so that she looks like the real crazy person in the, I guess, what happens in Halloween 2018. She looks like she's out for him, obviously, which she is, but that what is his connection with her at all if that night doesn't extend? That's my thing. So that's why I think Halloween 2 it's unfortunate that it's not canon, and it's I guess it's not a diamond in the rough because it's a well-known film in the horror genre, especially slasher genre. But for it not to be canon, I think it's unfortunate.
I see what you're talking about, and I've always felt kind of grown up that Halloween 2 does kind of get shit on. Like, I mean, but I mean, that being said, like, I mean, I've been a staunch supporter of Halloween 3 for practically most of my life, because I think that's an incredible film. That's on my list too. Getting to that, it just kind of made me transition that. But that's another film that I think is unfairly judged because it don't have Michael Myers. You know, like, people don't understand the story behind what was going on at that time. Because Halloween 2, you know, everybody loves Halloween 2 now if you're into Halloween. But I mean, back then it was it wasn't so much a critical success. People thought it was a step down from the first one, which, I mean, the first one is so iconic and well crafted. I think it's probably one of the most atmospheric and suspenseful films ever made. That I mean, I get that, but I mean, so then, I mean, once 2 flopped, you know, they were like, we got to we got to do something to make money again. So they were going to, as you know, they were going to do something different every year, like a different story and call it Halloween, hence Halloween 3. And once by that time, it was too late, man. People embraced and they loved Michael Myers and they weren't having anything that didn't have anything to do with him. They're like, what the fuck? What happened after 2? So, you know, I get why people would be upset, but God damn, they really were critical of such. I think Halloween 3 is such a really, it's just such a dark, fucked up story. And I really love. Not only that, I'm a sucker. Yeah, I would watch Tom Atkins read the phone book. So I mean, he's one of my favorites, dude. I would watch Tom Atkins take a shit. So and it would be engaging to me. So I mean, I met him several times. He's such an incredible dude. Yeah, it actually physically pains me to hear people talk about anything that Tom Atkins is in because I love him so much. But yeah, I agree, man. Halloween 2, it might be, you know, a mainstream movie per se, quote unquote, but I definitely feel it does fall into this category because I do think it's underappreciated. And I think Halloween 2's got, for being a movie that's primarily in one location, it's got some pretty good atmosphere. And I mean, I like Donald Pleasance in it, of course. I think he really starts. That's wherever Loomis starts to really kind of envelop as a character. So I mean, I'm with you all the way, man. I don't think Halloween 2 gets enough love, and it is unfortunate because like I'm actually kind of on the fence because like I do enjoy the 2018 sequels, and I know that's not really a popular opinion to have, but I do believe I wish he would have, because I know whenever he said he's going to continue from the first one. And it's going to blank out most of the sequels. I mean, most of the sequels are pretty shitty. I really wish he would have started from 2 and then, worked off of that. But
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you would have to contend with Halloween 4 and 5 and the niece and all of that bullshit and blah 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 blah.
I hated that whole that Thorn Legacy thing is ridiculous. There's a producer's cut that I watched. They're like, oh, that's better. I watched it. It's still stupid. It's not sure. It's a terrible one. When you over-explain the boogeyman, he's no longer scary. So it's like the scariest thing about Michael Myers was you had no idea why the fuck he's doing this, why the fuck he exists, what's going on. That not knowing is terrifying. Like you said, not knowing why he's so afixiated on Laurie Strode, terrifying. Whenever you all that shit. He's just another psycho in a mask. Who cares? So I mean,
and to go back into and obviously we could spend an hour just talking about the first 2, actually probably longer, the first 2 films of Halloween, which I know obviously just some people are a bit pedestrian, but for me, the second film also, I remember being little seeing it, and I'm thinking like when they're in the schoolhouse and Loomis is in there and Michael's written Sam Hain on the chalkboard. It's like, God damn, what's that scary shit? You know,
I know, man. That's what I'm saying. It still has those feelings for me.
And it's like, man, anytime you add druids into something, I'm down. You know, it's like druids and Sam Hain and sacrifice and like occult shit, and it's just like, it's almost like you do the Aleister Crowley thing, and it's like druids and like and like, how does Michael Myers know about druids? This motherfucker has been standing in a corner his whole life and not saying anything, and suddenly he knows like about Sam Hain and like autumnal sacrifice and the death of nature, and it's like,
well, that's what I find scary too, because you realize that like he's a lot fucking smarter than you think.
Exactly. And that's what made it even better. It's like, oh, we aren't dealing with somebody that's just some dummy that walks into like plate glass windows, which was a little dumb.
Tell me how terrifying that is, though. You're dealing with a shark now, because not only is he a killer, he's a smart killer. And that's
exactly
in and of its own right. And I Halloween 3, man, they even put the druid thing in that. I'm like, what do people want? I mean, I don't think there's anything more disturbing to me than like fucking masks killing kids. I think that, plus all the fucked up shit that would come out. Like I when I was a kid, that really hit home for me, man. And I thought that was I still think it's brilliant. But I mean, I'm not going to spend the whole episode talking about defending Halloween 3. But I'm with you, Halloween 2. I'm going to move on here because I got so much shit to cover. I don't want to keep you here Honestly, dude, I think we could do this for a week and not even scratch a surface.
Sure.
I'll start with my first recommendation. Most people have not seen, that I think is still pretty cool. I think it still holds up, but I mean, a lot of these you're going to have to kind of realize some might not meet the test of time, but I still think they're solid. Sleep Stalker, Last Rites of the Sandman. Have you ever seen that, sir?
No, I have not. I'm writing. By the way, I'm writing these down too. Sleepwalker, because like Glenn Pine and I agree. Glenn Pine says, yeah, he's a black belt. He's a black belt when it comes to horror movies. Yeah.
Sleep Stalker, Last Rites of the Sandman. Here's what it's about. I'll give you a little synopsis. There's this serial killer named the Sleep Stalker, and
I like it already.
And so he ends up getting killed while he's trying to get his victim. A voodoo priest brings him back, but the thing is, he has X amount of time to kill the victim that got away to keep this body. So he could turn into sand. He could come in through the keyholes under the door. He's like the Sandman from like Spider-Man, pretty much. And if he doesn't get this victim that got away per se, he's going to pretty much die out. So he has to kill this girl to retain the Sandman body, and wackiness ensues. So I mean, it was a direct-to-video movie that I thought was incredible back then. People back then didn't see it because it was so ridiculously hard to find. I was lucky enough to live directly by a mom and pop video store, and I would bother them to the point where I would just order all this direct-to-video shit, and it was lucrative to them because I would be there every day giving them my money. So I mean, I was lucky to see all these because like they just would just do it to get me to shut up. I'm like, oh, can you order this? Can you order these full moon movies? Blah 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 blah. They're like, nobody's gonna rent that shit. Believe it or not, a lot of people rented that shit. So they started to take my recommendations seriously. But love it. I definitely think you should check it out. What's your next recommendation, sir?
My next one is, and I thought about this a bunch, because obviously, not to beat this into the ground, but you have a list of I don't know how many, 15. Obviously, I have a cattail on my face, of 15, and I'm like, I'm just gonna try to keep up. I'm mostly I want to listen to your picks and listen to the master. So we talked about the Halloween 2. I also thought about, and you're gonna have to give me a second here. I'll tell you, why don't you do another one and then I'll catch up.
Okay. Well, my next pick, sir, is and this one it's a little more readily available now, but for the longest time it was super hard to find. I had a hell of a time finding it, but I was glad I did. It is a Thai horror film called Scared. And the premise is there's all these kids going to a pep rally in a school bus. So they go over this rickety ass bridge. And this scene alone makes my butthole pucker. It's like this like super tall bridge. The bridge collapses. It throws all these kids out in the middle of the woods. And then there's slashers out in the woods that start going after them. And it's like a total mix of different genres. Like it takes different subgenres of the horror genre and like kind of mixes them all together in a blender. Like just when you think, oh, this is going to be a slasher movie, it turns into this. And then you're like, oh, just when you think it's going to be this, it turns into this. Without telling you too much, I super love it. I thought it was a little ahead of its time with the message, which I thought was cool. Because like once you watch this film, you're like, wow, this was really ahead of its time, and you'll know what I mean. But it's got some really inventive kills. It's not just a dumb slasher movie. It's actually kind of got something to say. So I kind of more embrace stuff like that. I like a slasher movie as much as the next person, but whenever there's a message behind it, I think it's a little more special, and you don't really see that too often. So that's why I like Scared.
Sure, and I love that. After they fall off the bridge, they just happen to be starting to get picked off by these murderers.
It's almost like Battle Royale. They kind of get scattered all over the place. And then, everybody thinks they're the boss and they know what's best. We should do this. We should do this. So they start separating in different sects. And then, wackiness ensues. I don't want to tell you too much because I really definitely want you to check it out. But I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you have trouble finding that one, let me know. I would surely hook you up because it might be difficult to find that one. But,
yeah, I think maybe a Thai's horror movie might be a little more difficult to find. Once again, folks, we're dealing with a black belt. Yeah.
If it's horror, I'll watch any nationality. I love French. I love Italian. I love American. I love Thai. I think Asian horror. I kind of got it burnt out on the kind of ghost stories of theirs, but other than that, they have people are really missing some incredible stuff they're doing over there. I know the French are really making some really good stuff. I mean, but we'll get to that. I have some of that on my list here. We want me to hit you? Sure. Give you one more before we start with yours. You ready? You good to go?
Yeah, give me one more because I don't have as many as you, and I want to hear what you have to say too. I'll chime in.
I actually tried to make a list that wasn't just like old stuff. I think there's a lot of new stuff that's come out within the past 10, 15 years that a lot of people missed, especially from the late 90s, and even like maybe 10 years ago that, just kind of, it gets lost in the digital age. I mean, we live in the digital age, which is great because everything's readily available at your fingertips. But now you have the problem that there's such a, sensory overload of things that there's so much stuff that gets lost under the carpet now that's really good that you're never going to see just because there's so much shit to watch. You're never going to find it. So that's where I come in. And my next pick is called Late Phases. I don't think they make very many good werewolf films. This, I think, is amongst one of the best because like I said, I like horror films that kind of touch on meaning and purpose. It embraces on mortality and getting old and how most people don't find you like purposeful anymore when you get old. And there's emotion. It's great. It's about this old guy. He's a veteran. His family are pretty much vomits that don't want to take care of him, so they throw him in this old folks home. And never mind, as you can see, my nerd clock is going off. So if you hear the Ghostbusters theme, I'll give it a second. Anyway, sorry about that. I should have turned that off. But they put him in an old folks home because they don't want to take care of him, and all these murders are happening. So he ends up, he's blind too, by the way, which is a humongous fucking thing. I probably should have told you from the beginning. But he's blind, so they get him this dog, like a care dog, and the dog and him start figuring out that there's a werewolf, and it's killing all the old people, and then wackiness ensues. So, but I mean, without giving too much away, it has a lot of heart. There's a lot of emotion. Like I said, it shows, how people don't take old people seriously anymore when you get old. And I thought that was it was kind of a lot to say in like a little horror movie like that. And yeah, it's incredibly acted. It was a very small film. It went right under the radar, but everybody I know that's seen it's just like, God damn, that was a really fucking powerful and good film. For a werewolf movie, like this is way too good.
In what country put it out?
Oh, this is actually from the States.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
really
good.
Man, whenever that's what I'm saying. Like whenever something like that happens, direct to video now, you're going against 7,000 other horrible direct to video films. So then a lot of really good stuff like that never even gets paid attention to, and it's a shame.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think I'm a sucker for a good werewolf movie. I mean,
this isn't on my list, but one of my favorites. Have you ever seen Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers? I love Dog Soldiers.
No, I haven't.
Oh shit! I should put that, dude. Oh, that's up there. That's up there with American Werewolf in London. I mean,
real okay.
Oh, yeah, dude. Just the creature effects. They use suits instead of dopey CGI and all that shit.
Sure.
And it's a British film. He does mostly British. Have you ever seen The Descent? He did The Descent.
Yeah.
It's Centurion. He did. He's a really good director. Everything he's did has been amazing. But that was his first film, and goddamn, is it amazing! If you like werewolves, oh.
And obviously, you're going to have to just email me your full list over.
That looks like the Bible.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, like your full list of like Diamond in the Rough, because we're probably not going to get to all of them. But maybe we should, or you send it over to me, but we do another.
I tell you what, dude, this was off the top of my head here.
Oh man,
that was just me sitting on the pot writing stuff down. That's not even like That, if I sent you my full list, it would look like the Sears catalog. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Let's move right along. I'm going to speed this up here. I'll at least get through it. I'll do one more, and then I want to hear something from you here. Psycho Cop 2. Have you ever seen Psycho Cop 2?
I've never seen 2. I saw
the
Psycho
first
Cop.
one's real serious, and it's really not. I don't think it's really all that good. 2 kind of did a complete reversal. They kind of made it like a over the top, tongue in cheek like horror comedy, and it's one of those movies. Like, I personally love shitty bad B movies. Trauma is probably one of my favorite things in the entire world, so that should tell you a lot about me. It reminds me of that. Like, it's just so over the top ridiculous that it's just such a fun movie. And I'll tell you who plays. I don't know if you ever watched The Office. The guy that plays was it Vance, the refrigerator guy or whatever, Bob Vance. I don't watch The Office, but apparently he's a big character.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And his name was Bobby Ray Vickers, and he's Psycho Cop. So that's funny, I guess, if you watch that show. But it's just so ridiculous, and the kills are so ridiculous, and plus it has lots of TNA in it. Jolie Strain's in it. It's these dudes are having a bachelor party at work, and they decide to do it at work in this high rise when everybody's gone for the weekend. So Psycho Cop's a satanic cop, and he finds out, and then he goes and he's just, he's picking everybody off. But he does it in a fun way where he'll be like, since this is your first offense, I guess I can let you go, and he'll throw a bitch off the top of a fucking building and shit like that. So it's like, it's just a lot of fun. So I mean, it's not fucking Shakespeare by any means of the imagination, but if you're looking for a fun, shitty movie,
sure, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
yeah. I mean, we talked about, so my other pick, and once again, being way more pedestrian in this not being a top Thai horror film, but one that you could find in the United States in the 1980s. We talked about it via text, and you were like, yeah, that's totally fits into what we're talking about. Creepshow 2. Now it's the second one, and I don't think it got as much attention as the first one, because you were saying it had one less story than
2 actually.
2. That's right.
It was supposed to have 5.
Yeah. And I just watched it. So the reason why I think it is a diamond in the rough, because my wife years ago, which it's her birthday, by the way, today. So
happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I don't know if she heard me or not. Anyway, she's somewhere. I hope she's somewhere around here. I hope she didn't you know what? I'm going to go enjoy my day. She watched the first one with me years ago, and she's like, meh, I was like, huh, I feel like it held up. But then we watched the second one, and she's like, are we going to watch another one of these? Come on. And she actually was like, now those stories I really enjoyed. And I felt like the second Creepshow, the stories held up just a little bit more than the first ones. I'm just going to say it. I think that it's, even though it has less stories, I think the stories are better.
But does Creepshow 2 have Tom Atkins? That's what you have
No.
You know what, man? I see why you're saying that. And I always feel, again, Creepshow 2 it was critically maligned. It got shit on. And people always thought it was a lesser of a sequel. I think it holds up every bit as much as the first one. And when, in fact, I watched the first one, I always find myself watching 2 right after. Because, I like the way they all flow together. I think Creepshow 1 is probably one of my favorite anthologies of all time. And Creepshow 2, every single story is solid. I love old Chief Woodenhead. I love what do you call it? The Raft. The Raft, when I was a kid, dude.
Oh,
that gave me fucking nightmares for sure.
Although doesn't
I watched after
well.
that. Yeah, and I mean, who could forget? Thanks for the ride, lady. I mean,
yeah. I will say the Raft. I totally forgot about the certain scene where she's basically asleep, and
to make out with her.
Yeah, and I was like, that doesn't hold up well.
Yeah, not today. No, like I thought it was creepy when I was a kid. I'm like,
yeah,
kind of think like when there's a man eating ooze and you're trying to not get killed from it. that would be enough to maybe turn you off a little bit. But like that was all about boning. So
yeah, and I guess that was one of those things too that it almost ruined the whole story. With it's like, okay, so you're under this extreme amount of stress and anxiety, and 2 of your friends have already been eaten by this thing, but you're like, well, I mean, I could get a handy. You know,
it's kind of ridiculous.
Nobody's stopping me from trying to get a blowjob here. You know, it's like, are you out of your mind? But anyway,
hey, the ooze is cock blocking.
Exactly. Yeah, and then obviously you get to with that story, he gets to the beach and he's just being cocky, and it just envelops him. It's
That's
pretty
just
great.
that is probably one of the best creep show endings of all time, I think.
Yeah, and then I realized the guy with the hair. You know, it's like, I'm going to Hollywood, baby.
Yeah,
yeah. That's the dude that was in Mindhunter.
Yes.
And I didn't realize until I'm looking at the IMDb and who's the cast and some of the trivia, which I'm big on doing. And it's like, wow, I had no idea that was the same dude. Like completely white dude. You know,
I just like recently found that out a few months ago myself. I didn't know. I couldn't believe he was the dude from Mindhunters, but yeah, he's a great villain for sure. And I like the fact that Tom Savini was the creep. I thought his makeup was cool. I mean,
of course, just legend.
We could do a whole show about Savini, dude, because I've got some stories. But anyway,
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
He's an interesting. If you live in this area, he's definitely an interesting character to watch out for. But that being said, yeah, dude, I'm totally with you. What do you think of the Creep Show series? Have you had the chance to check that out?
I haven't had a chance to check it. I feel like we're into so many, like kind of catching up with so many series, because for years we didn't have, HBO Max, or we didn't have HBO Go, or we didn't have this, or we didn't have that. And we'll just pick a series, we'll get through the whole thing, and then after that, we'll start with the new one. Is it on AMC? What is it on?
Well, yeah, they play the reruns on AMC, but it's originally on Shudder, which I'll be honest with you, dude, Shudder is really the only streaming service you really ever need. I mean,
you were telling me about this too.
I mean, all the original programming, and they've brought Joe Bob back, and they always have a very good mix of old and new stuff. They have their originals. A lot of their original movies have been among some of my favorite films these past 3 or 4 years. They really take some time, and they scour the world, and they kind of put out what they think is the best, and a lot of the time they're really good. So yeah, I definitely recommend Shudder. I feel
like I should drop some of the other things I have, like so I specifically got Peacock to be able to watch the John Wayne Gacy documentary. Mm-hmm. And just like many people, I have yet to cancel it. And like, what am I doing here? I never watch this. I never watch this streaming service. I just got it. It's like, oh, it's the trial, so we'll just watch the Gacy thing and we'll be done. And then time goes by and it's like, well, I guess I could watch old wrestling matches, because they have like classic WWF stuff, and it's like, I'm kind of a sucker for old wrestling stuff, but
that was back in the heyday of that. After that, I kind of just completely forgot all about it. But back in the day you're talking about with like, Hogan and Piper and all that stuff, that to me what we grew up on, and that was back when it was actually cool. And now they talk for 2.5 hours and there's 2 matches, and then it's I'm like, I can't get into that. I mean, it's too much.
Yeah, especially after everybody knows that because I'll be honest, and maybe I was an idiot, but this was before what do they call it, kayfabe, mm-hmm. And I really don't want to get into a wrestling thing here, but when I was little, we didn't think that it was predetermined.
No, of course not.
I mean, like,
it was real to us.
Villains, and they were good guys, and that's it. And now that everybody knows, like everybody in that arena, that even some of the little kids know, it's like they already know who's going to win and blah, 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 win, you know. But I don't know. But I should get rid of the Peacock and get Shudder instead, because I think the wife and I are always looking for quality horror films rather than just like, it was okay.
Oh, that's what's nice in there too is rather than a predetermined streaming site give you their reviews and opinions, everything in there is user based. So all the reviews you see on there are user based, and then they do a tally and an average of all that, and then that's still rated by skulls at the top. So, oh yeah, dude, I can't recommend it enough. In fact, I'll tell you more after we get off the air here. But I'm gonna move right along here. You know what? I think you're probably right today. I think maybe we'll just get through maybe half of this. And that'll give me an excuse to have you back again, because I would
love it.
Love to have you back here. So
yeah, why don't we do like a couple more, and then I'll save my marriage since it's my wife's birthday, and we can go and do what she wants to do today.
I would like that. I think that's a good idea.
I'll stay married.
Life, happy life
for me.
I follow the same code, sir. So
yeah,
at least I hope so. But anyway, how about have you seen Come to Daddy?
Oh my God. I have not.
It's Elijah Wood, probably about, I think it's probably 4 or 5 years old at this point, but he's kind of a backwards kid. He always lost connection with his dad. So his dad, out of the blue, sends him this letter, and he wants him to come and visit him. And he wants to try to rekindle their relationship and reconnect. And that's really all I could tell you. Other than that, after that, it's a roller coaster. But
okay.
It's pretty amazing. And I'm always, you know what, I always am a sucker for Elijah Wood, and here's why. You know, you would think after Lord of the Rings that you would get pigeonholed into like that kind of that kind of role. But after that, man, he's not afraid. He's actually like us. I don't know if you know that. He actually started a horror production company.
Okay.
He is never afraid to take like the craziest roles. Like, did you ever see the remake of Maniac he did?
No, I didn't.
He did it. He did a remake of Maniac, and here's the coolest thing about it: the whole thing is from the killer's perspective. The whole movie is like you're the killer, and you're seeing everything he sees. It's like cinema verite. But there's only maybe if you see a reflection in a car or a window, you'll see him. But like he dresses just like the original. It's just like the original. It's a really good. It's probably a really faithful remake of the original, which you don't see too often. And I loved it. And I think Alexander Aja, the guy that did Hot Detention, I think he did the effects, I believe, or his guy did the effects. But incredible. That's not even on the list. But if you don't have a chance to see that, I surely think you should check it out. And you know what?
I mean, the Come to Daddy. That sounds. And I love the fact that if you are telling me just like the basic gist of the film, and then you're saying that's all I can say, then it must be something that is worth checking out, rather than like you having to because when you over explain something, it's like, and then by the third act he's saying to this, and it's just like, why are you trying to, if you haven't sold me already, then you're not gonna sell me.
I don't like spoilers. I hate when people do that, like that. It kills. Sure. But I'm gonna leave you with one more, and then we're gonna be done, and then whatever you want to do there. If you have any more, have you ever seen Grim Prairie Tales?
Grim Prairie Tales, as in like prairie.
Yes.
Like a grassland.
Yes.
No, I haven't.
It is from 1990. It is probably on this list, probably one of the most amazing gems you're never gonna find. It is in limbo because they can never release it on DVD because of the rights. It has James Earl Jones, William Atherton, Brad Dourif, and the whole thing is they're on the range, they're on this, and they meet each other. So they're sitting around a campfire, and they're both trying to one-up each other by telling them, each person's trying to tell a story that's going to creep the other one out more, because they're sitting there, they have nothing else to do, sitting around the campfire, and they're trying to one-up each other. And there's 4 stories, and it's it's like Creep Show, but it's pretty amazing, and that one's super hard to find. I'll definitely have to send you that. But it's like one of the best movies you've never heard of. Like it's incredible. But
please send it to me. Just send it to me, because if it's going to be hard to find, that sounds exactly. I love the films like that where it has little vignettes.
It's a great period piece. You'll love it. And we only got through 5 out of my.
Oh my God! This should be a recurring thing. You know,
I think that's great though. I would love to have you back every once in a while so we could do this. I think you should go spend some time with your wife for her birthday. That's my gift to you. I don't talk to you all day and get you, hit with a frying pan. So you're welcome.
Did you hear your happy birthday, by the way? Yeah. She heard it. She was being quiet, but yeah.
My gift to her is I'm not going to sing for her, because then she'll be deaf, and then she won't hear you for her birthday. Yeah.
Exactly. She does the singing around the house. Most of the singing around the house. Yeah.
Do you guys ever sing together, being that you're musical as well?
She makes me do it, because she makes up silly little songs. Like,
that's awesome.
I will say, I'll gush about my wife for 10 seconds. She's the type of person that I will get up and maybe I'm the person that stubs my toe in the morning or something, and I'm like, come downstairs like an angry bear, and she's like, and I'm emptying the dishwasher and I'm making the coffee, and she goes, sing it with me. I'm like, I don't want to. And then eventually I have to, she'll keep like, no, do it. It's fun. This is fun. Yeah. She's the best. She's
That's
literally
awesome,
the best.
man.
Yeah.
There's nothing I like more than hearing that, because like in this day and age, man, people don't stay together for a week. And I mean, surely something to celebrate. I hope she has the best birthday ever. I can't thank you enough for stopping by, Todd. Thanks for being a guest on my show. I love talking to you, brother. You're going to have to come back again real soon, and we'll start chipping away at this list again, sir.
I love it. And anything else too. You give me some invites, and I'm going to try to make it happen.
Awesome, bro. Well, I tell you what, in the meantime, I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to start sending you movie trailers of a lot of the stuff on this list if you want to check out.
I love it. Send all, or at least what we've talked about, and then we'll save the rest. Yeah. So I don't have to like. I don't want to blow your mind like scanners right off the bat. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Alrighty, man. Thank you so much, sir. We will see.
Thank you, brother.
On again soon. We're going to chip away this list as soon as we can here. So
I appreciate it.
Bye. Always a pleasure, sir. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Thank you, brother. You take care.
You too.